The Crystal Healing Certification Program is coming soon. Want to know more? For info, free training, and to get on the list, go to crystalhealerschool.com. Hey there, crystal lovers. Ashley Levy here from the Love and Light School of Crystal Therapy, coming to you a little bit later than usual in the day. No makeup, totally just keeping it real right now. But I wanted to take a moment to touch base with you about just a really amazing experience that I had recently. And this came about because I was preparing for our Crystal Mastery Conference that we have going on right now. And hey, Kathy, good to see you. And, if you don't know yet, every year we host this conference, usually once or twice a year, where I interview crystal healing experts from all over the world. And one of the people that I had the pleasure of interviewing this time around is the amazing Emma Mildon. And so her interview actually went live yesterday. And it expired today at noon, so unfortunately you can't go back and watch it, but we will have a replay of it this coming Sunday, which I'm super excited about. But I was just so freaking inspired talking to Emma, and so we set up some time to actually schedule an interview for the Love and Light Live podcast. And so that's what this week's blog and podcast episode are all about. They're this amazing interview with Emma. And, it's really hard to define exactly what the topic of this interview was, but if I had to put it into words, I would say it's really about spiritual bravery. It's about being your authentic self no matter what. Hence also coming to you totally no makeup, pimple and all, don't care, just want to be here, spread the love, share this message, because it was so empowering. And I love what Emma had to share because she just came right from the heart with her message. And she talked about her own spiritual journey and how she really struggled when she was first learning about spiritual things, because she felt like a lot of what was out there was really bossy and like it was laying down, this is exactly how this has to be, or this is exactly how you have to do this thing. And I totally relate to that. I mean, there are a lot of, don't get me wrong, not everyone is like that, but there are a lot of spiritual teachers out there that the way they teach is the only way and it's the best way and you should only do it that way. And I just found that my personal experience really varied from that. And so that was something nice to see that I had in common with Emma, And I was just felt so blessed by this conversation that we had. And she shares a lot of her personal story about traveling around the world to learn all these different things from different spiritual teachers and healers and shamanic practitioners. And she came back and wrote that all into her book, The Soul Searcher's Handbook, which I've had for a while. I love that book. It's such a great introduction to different spiritual and wellness-based topics. If you haven't read it, there's a link to it over on the blog. You can check out the blog or listen to the podcast interview by clicking the link here on Facebook. And Kathy, thank you. Yeah, Kathy says that she was wonderful. She had just such a great interview on the Crystal Mastery Conference, and I wanted to bring that to even a bigger audience. So I said, we have to get you on the podcast. We have to get you on the blog because you have such important things to share. And so she talked about this journey about how she, gathered all this knowledge and collected it and started to integrate it on a really personal level. And she wrote her book, The Soul Searcher's Handbook, just had gotten done with the book, thought that she really needed a break, but the universe really decided that there were other big things in store for her. And so she felt called to start her next book, which is now called Evolution of Goddess. And she talks a little bit about the journey of writing and creating and bringing that into the world and what her purpose was behind that and how it really evolved and shifted along the way. And of course, Emma will tell her story better than I could hope to. So you can check it out over there. And I see Rebecca's here. Hi, Rebecca, and Stephanie and Rachel. Good to see you. And Susan and Melissa. Hi. So I'm going to let you check out Emma's story for yourself because I think you really need to hear it from her. But it just taught me personally this lesson about what it means to have this type of spiritual courage and spiritual bravery. And I'm sorry, I'm like so close to crying right now. I've had a really emotional day today, so bear with me for a minute. Just feeling really like tender emotionally. um, the point of this is that it came at such a good time in my own life. This is one of the great things about doing these conferences and sharing the types of things that I get to share with people every year is I love the work that I do so much, and I'm so grateful for it. And some of the people that I meet and connect with on my journey as I'm, just trying to bring something great into the world for all of you ends up having such a profound effect in my own life. And so I just want to talk about something I'm going through personally. And this might be, thank you guys so much for all the love. It's like totally different than my normal Facebook Live. I don't know why I'm in such like a crazy emotional place, other than I've just been feeling a lot of things in my life lately really shifting and changing. And this has been like a very tumultuous year. Which is weird to think about, like in so many ways, like my life is so together and amazing, but I'm feeling this big spiritual shift, this big spiritual transformation. The past few years, even though, really, I am so grateful for everything in my life. I've been like still really struggling with anxiety on and off and things like that, and feeling like, although I'm living my purpose in such a big way, as if I've only really scratched the surface to what that is. And I feel like there's something so much bigger and so much deeper underneath there. And I'm just now starting to get clarity on what that is. And I don't know exactly what lies ahead, right? I have no idea. Sometimes we think we know, but we get surprised by the universe and taken in a different direction. But whatever it is, involves a lot of travel. So there have been some things coming up in my life lately where I'm feeling on a spiritual level very called to go to certain places. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm so grateful to have connected with Emma, because she really did this. She listened to that calling. She embodied that spiritual bravery, and she set out on this path of discovery and personal journey, and brought that back and integrated it so that she could be an even better teacher and author and speaker. And she has now evolved into what she calls a spiritual activist. And in so many ways, I'm feeling that call. And I have been, if I'm really honest with myself, for a long time, but I've struggled because of my anxiety to do a lot of traveling. If you know me, you know I'm kind of a homebody. I love being at home. I love feeling the safe, comforting, nurturing support that my home and my sacred space have to offer. And the idea of doing a little globe trekking is terrifying to me in a lot of ways. And I can't even pinpoint in words exactly what it is. It's just kind of an internal fear. And I've been challenging myself since my conversation with Emma on this podcast to dig up that spiritual courage and dig up that spiritual bravery on my own that lies somewhere within me, and explore whatever it is that this calling to do this traveling and have this discovery is. I always thought that I would be a big traveler. I'm a Sagittarius. That's like our thing. I've always wanted to go explore and see the world and do amazing things around the globe. And I didn't know exactly what that looked like. And I don't know that I still do. But there are these nudges, and they're bigger than nudges at the moment from the universe, to go to specific places, whether that's to teach or learn or whatever it is. Something is happening. And it all has to do with this concept of spiritual bravery and spiritual courage, and what it takes to more fully step into your authentic self. And so I have a crystal that I've been working with for this, just to kind of help me, which is a crystal I don't normally gravitate to for a lot of things, but it's pyrite. And this piece in particular is really special to me. My mom actually gave me this piece of pyrite. She bought it for me when we were out shopping together one day, and we stopped in a little rock shop just so I could, quell my curiosity. I had to know what was in there. And it's kind of even more special for this because it comes from my mom. My mom is so supportive and encouraging and always kind of telling me to go for my dreams. And it's just been such an amazing support in my life. And I'm so grateful for her. She's also just an example of what a strong female role model should be. And so this stone has been helping me to branch out a little bit and step into something bigger. And I don't know what that will look like yet, so I'll keep you posted on that. But I just wanted to say, if you're feeling like you're holding yourself back from the plan that's unfolding, the plan that's in store for you from the universe, if you're feeling like you're in your own way, for whatever reason, whether it's doubt or worry or fear or anxiety, don't let that stop you. Because I'm here to tell you I'm not going to let it stop me. Even though it's going to be a challenge, it's also, with every challenge, you have an opportunity for growth. And you have an opportunity to explore yourself in a deeper way. And I'm so grateful to be able to come on here and talk about this so that I can be accountable for that. And just share that. And I hope that all of you, if you listen to this interview with Emma, that you leave feeling as inspired and as motivated and as excited about the next steps in your journey as I did. So that's what I really wanted to say about this week's blog and podcast. I really hope that you'll take time to give it a listen. Emma's just a phenomenal being. She has so much light to share, and I'm so personally grateful for the inspiration that she brought to this interview and sharing her story, how she's really inspired me to take more action. She had some great comments, that she realized she couldn't change the world from her meditation cushion, and that so resonated right now. So a big shout out to Emma and a big thank you. I just am feeling so blessed and so inspired. And I hope that all of you will, maybe reach for your pyrite, do a little soul searching, see what crystals can help support you as you take your next steps that require some courage or bravery on your spiritual path. So thank you. And yeah, Ash says she was like radiating passion. It was incredible. She totally was. And hey, Andrea, good to see you. And Estelle. And thank you. Estelle says you're not alone in that. All very true. And just thank you all for listening. Heather. Hi, Heather. Heather says a few weeks ago, I was pushed out of my day job to go full time into my healing work. My soul was dying a little more each day, so I took the leap. You're not alone in being pushed onto your soul's path. Right, Heather? Like sometimes the universe will give that little nudge, that little nudge, that little nudge, and then a shove. But you know what? We have to trust that it's like a mama bird pushing the babies out of the nest. And that's what it is, And this is our time to be pushed and nudged by the universe so that we can spread our wings, so that we can do whatever it is that we're here to do. And that's one thing I will say I've gotten better about in my life, is following that path and realizing when the universe is leaving a little trail of breadcrumbs and letting your intuition and your inner guidance sometimes just take over and kind of surrendering to that. Because do I have any idea why traveling and going to these places that I'm called to go to right now is at all relevant for my personal spiritual path or for my work as a healer and teacher? And I have no idea. I don't know why it fits in, but I'm trusting right now that it must be important because it keeps coming up in such big ways. And so it's time to surrender. It's time to be brave and be courageous and put aside my personal fears that are coming from the ego self, right? Like, I think there's fears that come from your intuition that are like warning signs or red flags that you need to pay attention to and heed because those are important. And I think there's ego-based fears that are rooted someplace else. And they're rooted in something external and not on a soul level. And when you learn to differentiate those things, it just helps you make decisions and make choices and move forward in your life. And whatever these fears are about traveling and doing these bigger things they're the ego stuff. And so I'm done with that story. So I hope you find something in your own life. I hope you uncover something while listening to Emma's story. That's a story that you're done with. That's a story that you're ready to write the final chapter in and move forward in your life. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. It's like big stuff. Like, this isn't just like, oh, hey, I got this great interview you should listen to. This is like, holy cow, this is changing. There's big shifts happening. And this interview is like a big, not necessarily the catalyst, not the thing that's kicking it off, but the thing that's really punching it into high gear. And I think a lot of us are feeling this shift right now. And Ash says, thank you so much for this. I needed to hear this. My first step is taking your CCH course. Oh my gosh, Ash, thank you. That's like blessings to you. Like, I would love to have you in the program, but like whatever that path is that is unfolding for you, whether it's the call to be a healer, the call to be a teacher, a speaker, a friend, a call to be more in tune with what your body needs. Whatever that is, embody that. And you know what? That reminds me something that I heard recently, okay, from like a very wise young woman. Oh, and Heather says, yep, ego death and soul calling. It's happening. I got to tell you guys, okay, there's something that a couple weeks ago maybe was the catalyst for these feelings in a lot of ways. And there's this really amazing young woman that I've been following on Instagram and YouTube. She's super phenomenal. She's a great artist, very talented. And I just connected with her art style. And it was something that I was like, oh, I really like her art. I'm going to hang out with her for a little bit on Instagram. She seems pretty cool. But she said something in one of her posts that totally made me pause. Like, you know how sometimes you learn a lesson or you hear something that you really needed to hear from a completely unexpected place, right? Well, she said this thing that totally brought me to tears in the moment because whatever it was about it was exactly what I needed to hear. And this is what it was. There's this very little quote, and I have it saved to the desktop of my computer now. It says, you can become whatever you want the moment you decide that you are it. And for me, I don't know why in that moment that felt so powerful. Because on a conscious level, I know that. Like, these are the things, law of attraction work. These are the things that I practice daily. But the way that that was worded specifically spoke to me on that like soul level, that deep, deep soul level, that big transformative kind of impact that certain moments in your life have. And this was just me sitting on my sofa, killing time on Instagram, right? Looking at people's art and photos and just like, you know, killing some time. But I came across this profoundly inspirational thing that was so meaningful for me at the time that it truly brought me to tears right there on the spot. You can become whatever you want the moment you decide you're it. Like so powerful. So I hope that if there's something that you want to become in your life, that you decide that you're it and that you move forward on that path. Not that you'll become it if you do this thing, and this thing, but that you are it now. Because that's so much stronger when you start to truly embody that vibration of that thing that you want to become. Just decide that right now you're it. So if you're feeling the need for a little inspirational boost, for a little motivation, go listen to Emma's interview. It was so powerful. It was so amazing. She's such a kindred soul. Like, she calls herself the girl next door spiritualist, I think is what she calls herself. And that's so true. She's so easy to relate to, so friendly, so warm. So I encourage you, please go check out the podcast, or you can read it on the blog. You can read a transcript of the interview if you prefer that way. But I definitely encourage listening to the podcast because Emma has like a great New Zealand accent. She speaks beautifully. It's so nice to listen to her. She's so charming. So give it a listen. Like, I hope that you feel as inspired as I have the past few days. And thank you so much for just coming and hanging out with me and holding space a little bit to talk about this. Sorry to be emotional. That's just like where I'm at right now. So much love to you. And I hope that you leave this interview with Emma feeling inspired and feeling that spiritual courage and spiritual bravery to take that next step on your journey. Until next time, I'm Ashley Levy of the Love and Light School, and Crystal Blessings. The Crystal Healing Certification Program is coming soon. Want to know more? For info, free training, and to get on the list, go to crystalhealerschool.com.